Total Football with SportsAdda. Sid, to start off with, 3 wins yesterday for all the 3 teams, 6 teams में से 3 team का रास्ता खत्म होते हुए. So, what do you have to say about these 3 teams who have lost firstly, and how difficult will it be for them to bounce back in the tournament, or you think the tournament is over for the 3 teams that have lost?
No, I don't think it's game over for them. They still have an outside chance with, the rule of best 3 teams going through, in the tournament. So 4 of those teams that finished third do have a chance of getting into the tournament. So like even Finland with the loss yesterday do have their win over Denmark to push them over the line. Okay, Turkey though are in a little bit of trouble with 2 losses. So they have a uphill task, but a win in the last match might, push them over the line.
What do you have to say about the Italian dominance? And they again kept a clean sheet. It's like you need to have 3 FPL defenders of the Italian team, and you are sorted for the week.
True. So the Italians actually are proving to be one of the favorites for this tournament. They're the leading goal scorers now, unless Belgium come up with one more goals in them, in today's match. But they are coming out to be favorites. As I said yesterday, I expected the Swiss team to sit back a little, and they did. But the Italians did manage to break through their defense and score 3 goals at that. I expected it to be much closer, but they're coming into their own.
Definitely, and Italians being the first side to qualify for the round of 16. So that's a big win for them and a big plus now. And in the next game, we could probably see a couple of changes as well. Like yesterday, we saw Barella come out, and even Insigne given the rest after the 70th minute. So we could see that breaking of the monotony, and the playing 11 could be shuffled. A Chiesa could be given a chance. So that's a thing to watch out for.
Absolutely. So we'll see that with other teams as well. Probably as they are confirmed in the next round, they will try and give fringe players or impact players a little more of time to be on the pitch. For example, as you said, Chiesa, he's going to be an important sub for the Italian team. And the more minutes he gets to play, the more confidence he'll get. So if he gets a run of few minutes in the next game, he'll probably be a starter in the next game, in my opinion. So that will give him a boost and also help him acclimatize to this competition, the pressure, and also help him perform when he comes in as a sub and create the impact that the Italians will be looking for if they are in trouble.
100% I agree with you. They will get that exposure and the game time that they really need to play in such tournaments. You have to settle down the nerve when it comes to the day when they actually are tested to the limit. Now, speaking of the first game, we have Ukraine playing on North Macedonia. So Ukraine versus North Macedonia, it is a battle of who gets it, who plays the best on the day, because out of these 2 teams, Ukraine have the upper edge because they have been playing European football for a longer time. As you said, in the they've had a lot of rich history, and North Macedonia only being 30 years old. So looking at these 5 last games that Ukraine have played, they were very good till the last game against this side that they played, and they lost 3-2. So what do you have to say about Ukraine, and what do you think of them as a unit?
So the Ukrainian team, has been a tight unit, as you said. Even in their local leagues, they play a lot of football together. Okay, but if I take into consideration this match, okay, both sides suffered late defeats in their opening game. And we'll be hoping to claim 3 crucial points in this match day, to give that extra push for qualification. So if you see Ukraine, they were doing very well. Okay, they came back from 2-0 down to 2-all, and unfortunately, in the last few minutes, they conceded 1 goal to lose 3-2 to the Dutchmen. While if you see Macedonia, they were doing very well in the first half. Okay, I won't say they were leading in stats in any form, but they were a tight unit, and they were 1-0 up. 1-0 down, fought back through Goran Pandev. But again, the last few minutes, Austria came back with 2 more goals. Okay? And if you see their history, okay, North Macedonia's only victory over Ukraine came back in 2004. Okay, they played only 4 matches together. There have been 2 losses for the Macedonian side, 1 draw and 1 win, as I said, in 2004.
Yeah.
And while saying that, they failed to score in any of those 3 meetings wherein they've lost or drawn. So Goran Pandev has a weight on his shoulder to score some goal or the other to give them a fighting chance. And him
Exactly.
as a player, okay, an absolute legend for the team. He actually probably made his debut for them 20 years ago in this month, I believe, in June itself.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
North
love to
Macedonia have registered a win in the qualifiers against Germany. So they have upset and they have given that shock to the bigger teams. So it won't be a surprise if they really play extraordinary football and they can beat Ukraine. They do have an outside chance here.
Absolutely. In this tournament, there's no one team that cannot win a match. They are here
Yes.
for a reason. They've beaten several other teams en route. Okay, they've caused upsets. They are going to come in and come in with a mentality to win or at least get a draw. No team's going to come in and say, okay, I can deal with this loss. They will
Yeah.
always come in that I can grind out a draw and get at least 1 point out of this match. And if I look at the Macedonian team's performance over the last few months, okay, their last 5 matches, if I mean, until the last match they were undefeated for a while. So a
Yeah.
lot of expectations on them. They do have it in them. Okay, a very young team. They have a mix of some experienced players. A lot of expectations from them. They want to win. As I said, there's no team that wants to lose. Okay, coming into a match, even if they know it. Being at this stage, you and their first appearance in a major tournament, they want to win. At least get that one winner.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. Now, speaking of a head-to-head player battle, there's an interesting one there. You have Yarmolenko versus Alioski. Now, see, Alioski is a left back for Leeds, but here he's playing more into the midfield. But it's going to be an extremely good contest because Yarmolenko is someone who's kind of a floater and plays a free role in this team. He runs everywhere, and you'll
Yeah.
see him everywhere making the game and being the playmaker for the team. So you think
Yeah.
it's going to be an interesting battle, and who's going to come out victorious in this personal battle of theirs?
It's not only on this stage, even in the Premier League, West Ham is where Yarmolenko is. So they've got a bit of familiarity there. Okay, fine. Yarmolenko wasn't starting as many matches for West Ham, maybe not against Leeds. But he does have that exposure. He's seen, Alioski. He's probably in their team talks, when building up for the Leeds game. Or
Yeah,
vis-a-vis at the same time, Alioski would have seen tapes of the West Ham games and performances, their tactics. So they are familiar with their playing styles. In club football, that is a norm, right? You
yeah,
analyze players. They are going to be familiar with them. If they were from different leagues, probably they would have been a little unknown. But again, then the national teams will get in tapes of their league performances. But the familiarity of knowing and expecting it, being in the Premier League, is that they have that familiarity. Okay, Yarmolenko in the last match, he has that little bit of edge in him. He has
yeah.
that unorthodox goal in him, like we saw, contender for goal of this tournament.
Brilliant
So
goal.
Alioski has his hands tied, but with Leeds, even in Leeds in the Premier League, you expect the unexpected from them. So it's going to be a tough battle, and I can't choose, personally between the two.
Okay, so this is a tough battle, but you have to predict a winner in these two teams, and who is going to be the team to win this one, and what is going to be the score according to you.
Yeah. So if I see both Ukraine and North Macedonia, okay, Ukraine have failed to score in just two of their last 22 international matches across all competitions, while the
Wow.
same can be said of North Macedonia. They failed to score in one of their last 16 games. So there is expected to be goals from both sides in this match. So, which is a crucial game for both sides if they wish to reach the knockout stages. So,
Yeah.
as I said, all guns blazing, if both of them are going to come out, gung ho for this game. Although Macedonia are sure to put up a valiant fight, okay, but I think Shevchenko's men have that extra bit of quality and experience in them in the final third to secure
They
all
do.
3 points at Bucharest. So, I think it'll be a 3-1 win for Ukraine.
3-1 win. Pretty bold prediction that one because I feel surprised that North Macedonia are going to even compete, given the fact that Ukraine have a better team on paper and have some quality in them. With North Macedonia, it
Yeah.
is just that I have not seen that much of North Macedonia to give them a chance. Actually, that's very rude on my part, but that's what it is. So it's
It
3-1
is
from our
true.
yeah,
So there's a lot of expectation, right? So even when we look at the stats, like we said last time, Ukraine are expected to score at least 2 goals in each match through their
Yeah,
staff. So gives a little bit of extra impetus to them.
everyone from our stats expert Sid. Moving on to the second game, it's Denmark versus Belgium. So Denmark versus Belgium, you know, we have to talk about Kevin De Bruyne returning. The best midfielder in the world. He is the captain of the Belgium team. He is the captain of Manchester City as well. How how brilliant of a player is he? One of the best passers of the ball, don't you think, Sid?
Absolutely, he's one of the premier players in any of the leagues. Everyone covets him. Any team would be lucky to have him, and Belgium, with their golden generation, have an amazing player and playmaker who can dictate play for them. And not only dictate play, he has the goals in him as well. He's not just a provider. So he has it all in him. Defensively, also, as we've seen in Manchester City, Pep has got that little bit of grit into him. He falls back and makes those tackles as well now. So he's become a more rounded player under Pep, and he will be looked at from the rest of his team to guide them through.
After the injury that he suffered against Chelsea in the UEFA Champions League final, I myself was very, skeptical whether he'll be playing or featuring in the tournament because it looked a pretty serious blow at that time. And to
Yeah,
see him come back really, lights up the hopes for most Belgium fans because you can see some great football now when he's around there. With the inclusion of Hazard as well, the 100% match fitness, and we all know
yeah.
Lukaku. That man is the player to watch out for. You can't give him an inch of space. He scored a couple of goals, and it looked like he wanted more, and he could have scored more. So, what are your thoughts on him, and how important would he be for Belgium tonight?
Well, not only tonight, Yash, he's going to be important for the Belgian team throughout this tournament if they want to win. No one's going to win unless you score goals. Yes, he's going to get the delivery, but unless your striker takes his chances, converts those half chances into goals.
Yeah,
There are a lot of times that you miss. It plays an impact on the team. That you've missed a chance. This might have impacted your chance of going to the next round. But
yeah,
Lukaku, with his current form and his performance in the last match as well, his poacher's goal. The first goal was unexpected, right? But it
yes,
was his presence of mind that got that goal. So he is going to be very important. I do expect him to score a lot of goals. Maybe give Ronaldo a run for his money next.
he can. He definitely can. And the first goal that he spoke about in the last match, he didn't even look up at the goal and to just check out where he wants to hit the ball. He was just looking at the ball and he knew where the goal was. That is striker's instinct, and that is the sign of a man in form. And we all know what Lukaku is capable of. But speaking of their last 5 games that Belgium have played, they've had a pretty impressive record. They've not lost any game in the last 5 games and generally have been playing some magnificent football and have got results out of almost every game that they've played. So, what do you think? This history is very, very rich. The recent history that they've had, and the fact that they're the number one team, Sid. Do you think they are clear winners in this bout?
Well, I won't call them clear winners. Yes, if I look into the happenings around the team, Denmark, of course, with the unfortunate incident with Christian Eriksen. Thankfully, he's doing much better over there, and I'd like to give credit to everyone over there. The players, the referee Anthony Taylor, and the medical staff whose timely actions were very crucial for Eriksen. Being where he is today. He was able to send out a message to everyone that he's doing well. So a lot of credit to them, as a unit. And if I look at the team, Kasper Dolberg will mostly come in place of Eriksen, to make up the attacking line, and probably the other two will move out to the wings now, to accommodate Dolberg as a striker. So that will be one of the changes that I see in the Denmark side. But if I look at injuries coming into this match, Belgium will miss out on Castagna, who's received a horrible knock in the last match. A facial fracture, just like what De Bruyne suffered in the Champions League final. But an advantage to them is Witsel and KDB have both recovered KDB is in the running for a start, and maybe Witzel as well, being a crucial match. So that would be important for Belgium. And if I look at the history of these two teams, today's match will be the 16th meeting between Denmark and Belgium.
Wow.
So there is history over there, and the head-to-head record till date has been fairly balanced. With both teams winning 6 games each, and so I can't separate the two if I look at history. With them winning equal number of matches. And
Yeah.
if I go a little more back, Denmark have lost 3 successive games in the Euro finals, and 4 of the last 5, in fact, have been uh, losses, and they have recorded only 2 wins in their
Wow.
last 11 Euro final matches. So Denmark a little bit on the back foot. And if I look
Yeah.
at Belgium, as you said, the stats that we just saw, Belgium are currently on a 10-game unbeaten run across all competitions, winning 8 of those 10 fixtures. And on a personal front, Martinez has 7 wins in this competition, and
Yes.
one more, and he equals the national record of most games won at the Euros.
Wow. Okay. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. And Roberto Martinez is a very good manager. Even since his Premier League days, he was someone who people used to admire a lot. But now speaking of
Yeah,
the head-to-head battle here, Lukaku is a no-brainer from the Belgium side, but Kasper
true.
Schmeichel is one of the people who can really put a stop to him and pull the laces and make sure that they can get something out of this game, because Christian Eriksen, as you said, was their playmaker, and now he's going to be missing out, and it's a big shoe to fill for them. But the least that they can expect from this game is a point, and that will be a very solitary point in order to qualify if they have to, look
True.
forward to playing more in this tournament.
Absolutely. So this is going to be an interesting battle because Schmeichel is going to be the one who will be facing the brunt of Lukaku's shots, right? His defense will be the first line that will try and keep him out, but we know Lukaku is going to get past them at some point, and that's when Schmeichel will come up, and his big hands are going to be the ones who are trying to keep out Lukaku. And if you see history, Schmeichel's father, you know, also a
That's
Premier
right.
League legend, probably has given him some bit of advice on what to expect. And
Yes.
Lukaku is being currently mentored by Thierry Henry, who's the assistant coach. Actually, came in drafted back in just before the Euros. He was their assistant manager earlier, left
Yes.
for other things that he on a personal front, but he's back now. Okay, and Lukaku himself says that Henry has been integral in his transformation in the Belgian side. Giving him a lot of
Wow.
pointers, and we all know Henry, goal scoring legend in himself. So
Definitely.
history in the coaches, and the next generation also are going to battle him.
Fantastic. Sid, pick your winner for today. Please pick Belgium. Who's the winner for today?
Yeah, you're in Belgian colors, and we all know you're a Belgian fan. But yes, there's no doubt that Belgium have the upper hand. The Denmark fans will undoubtedly be proud of their players. Just stepping onto the field. Okay, no matter what the scoreline in the top left-hand corner reads today, the coach will
Yeah.
do his best to rally the Danish team. But no one's going to fault them. They're going to put up a brilliant performance, no doubts about it. Okay, but football will unite as one in today's match at Copenhagen. But I think Martinez's men are just too focused and had that added advantage with the 3-0 win earlier. And I don't expect Denmark to spring a surprise on the Red Devils. So a 3-0 win again for Belgium is what I think.
Brilliant. I like you even more now. That's your prediction for today. So let's move on to the final game of the day. It is Netherlands versus Austria. Sid, Netherlands versus Austria. See, the most important player for Austria, as we all know, for people it might be David Alaba, but for realistic talking, it is Arnautovic, and the impact that he gets on his international side, he might not be as effective as people may think, but he's definitely the clinical striker that they had. And surprisingly, he's been banned for a match over some incident that happened in the previous game against North Macedonia. Could you share some light on what exactly happened and how big of an absence would it be his loss in this team?
Yeah, so Arnautovic, even in the last match when I was doing the preview outside, he's a bit of an erratic character, and he has
He did.
That tendency to fire up against his own teammates at times, but more often than not at the officials and the opposite team. So, firstly, in the last match, there was this thing that he was unhappy at being on the bench. Okay, he was unhappy, and after coming on and scoring, even his coach, he said, Arnautovic is one of his main players, but if he can feel fit. Okay, Arnautovic has this history with muscular problems, which is why his coach said that he had, opted to start him off on the bench. Okay, at that match, which he expected to win comfortably. Now that's what the coach
Yeah,
said, but Arnautovic, it didn't go down too well with him. And after scoring, after coming on, maybe emotions got the best of him. I don't know if things were said, just like Materazzi and Zidane in the
yeah,
World Cup finals with that headbutt, or it might have been just something else. Some things were said against an opposition player for which he has been banned. Now, UEFA or any governing body, as we've also seen in cricket, players getting banned for comments that they made years ago on Twitter. The
yeah,
governing bodies are getting a little more strict with things said on and off the pitch. So
yeah.
yes, a good move by UEFA. I'm not really sure of what it was, but if it was something offensive, yes, a player should be banned. But it does the players themselves, like Arnautovic, need to understand that what they do on and off the pitch impacts the team and the nation as a whole.
Exactly, exactly. People like us look up to him. Said like, he's a very big
Yeah,
player for his country, and Austrians especially. When he's playing for his country, people look up to him, and something like this happens. It's pretty sad and unfortunate to see. And
yeah,
let's hope that it turns out well for him and for Austria. Now this game, it is the Dutch versus the Austrians. Dutch having the upper hand in the last 5 games they've played. They have had a clean record. They've won, and I think they've just had that one draw in the middle. So, what are your thoughts? The form that they possess. You think they have an outside chance of really qualifying for the top 16?
absolutely. I think both teams have that opportunity to go forward in this tournament. Both having taken maximum points from their opening games. Victory in this game would be enough to book progress for either
Yeah,
team. Be it the Dutch or the Austrians. Okay, so
exactly.
a win is what both teams will be targeting, and having both scored 3 goals, conceded 2 and 1 respectively, it will be an open game. Okay, and if I look at history amongst these two teams, they're neck and neck again in this tie. The Dutch winning 8 to the Austrians 6 while also having 4 draws. So history itself suggests that they are very close to each other. And a lot of expectations for this match to be a goal fest. But knowing these two, I think it will be a some form of a slugfest in the midfield. And coming to that, the key in this game will be the midfield. Okay, if I look at the Dutch, De Roon, Gigi Wijnaldum, and Frankie De Jong, okay, are going to have to control this game and keep the pace frantic. Okay, the Dutch thrive on having quick passes, total football, as their playing style suggests. Otherwise, if they are not able to dictate it, I think the Austrian midfield will turn this match into a slow defensive slugfest. And
Yes.
I think Austria's midfield is going to give Netherlands some problems, going into this match, and won't allow the Dutch to have their open play style that they have. So free flowing football might not be seen from the Dutch. It will be a gritty performance, and the Austrians have showed how dangerous they can be on the counter in the last match. So a big midfield battle over here.
A battle of the midfielders as well. But the man to watch out for is Memphis Depay because he has been
Yeah.
recently linked to Barcelona as well. Just to shed some light on his transfer news, Ronald Koeman himself has been taking the onus because of what happened in the Wijnaldum deal. So a
Yeah.
fellow Dutchman has rejected, but the other one has accepted the Barca deal so far. So speaking of Memphis Depay, what do you have to say about him? And do you think he'll be more of a withdrawn or a false nine kind of a player than an out and out attacking striker?
Well, that would be a case, if you would have thought about it from a pure stats point of view. But for the Dutch team, he does play as an out-and-out striker.
Yeah,
If in
exactly.
case Luke De Jong comes in, then he plays a little withdrawn. But if he starts as, an attacking option, he will be the false nine for them.
Yeah,
Okay, and Depay coming into this tournament has been integral in the goal scoring exploits of the Dutchman. But in the last match he wasn't able to score, but he will be expected to score a few goals in this tournament.
That's absolutely true. And also, like as we all have kind of expected that we are expecting that Netherlands are going to win this one. Could we see a low press or kind of a park the bus kind of a thing from Austria today, and just to play on the counter or hit them on set pieces or something like that? Or do you think it could be an open play from Austrian side? Because this game is very crucial for them. So if they lose
Yeah.
this one, it's going to be pressure in the final game because Ukraine are going to come all guns blazing if they get a win against Finland today. So what are your thoughts?
True. So both teams are going to go for a win in this match, But as I said, it's going to be a midfield battle that will decide this game. The Austrians are going to, sit back, make it compact. Probably David Alaba also, coming into a more defensive midfield position. We'll see how things move along and the coach decides. But it's going to be a defensive battle. The Austrians will try and make it a difficult time for the Dutch to have the free flowing football. So I think it will be more of a slugfest, but it will be tough. But I think the Dutch have it in them to break that defensive barrier.
They definitely do. They've had a rich history as well, and the current team is kind of a revamped Netherlands team that we are seeing. So, what is your prediction for today's game, the final game of the day?
Yeah. So while both teams are on a good pedestal currently, probably 1 point from the game will be enough. But I don't expect them to try and churn out a draw. Both teams will be going
Yeah,
for the win. The Dutch in their own style, while the Austrians in their. Okay, they might have to change a few tactics here and there, depending on how each one approaches the game. But I don't expect anyone to go for a draw. It will be both teams going for a win. Maybe one going all guns blazing, the other trying to hit on a counter. But I think the
exactly.
Netherlands do have that extra bit of quality in them, and I expect them to win 2-1 this next time.
2-1 it is to the Dutch. Probably, it's gonna be exactly like how you said, because the fact that Netherlands are more compact and they are more confident as a unit at the moment with a lot of wins under their belt and a lot of history as well. And they are the favorites to qualify from this group. So thank you for everything, Sid. I really had an interesting conversation with you today as well. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you in 2 days, I think. And thank you for joining with me. Thank you all our viewers. This was Total Football by SportsAdda.